we're going to look at the life of Joseph. And as we talk about the life of Joseph, I'm going to hit upon key factors that dealt with his administration that I've discovered being an administrator. And then we're going to go from the generalities then to the particulars of just giving you some practical knowledge and some ways you can look at administration. When we read about Joseph, and you can turn to Genesis 37, verses 2 through 5. Let me go ahead and read that to you. This is when he was a young person. You may not have even thought of this as being administration, but it's really along the lines of which all of you are now administrators here. So it says here, Joseph, being 17 years old, was feeding the flock with his brothers. And the lad was with the sons of Bilhah and the sons of Zilpah, his father's wives. And Joseph brought a bad report of them to his father. The first thing here. Okay, so we've got Joseph. He's in charge of actually some sheep. And administrators were in charge of property, things like that of some sort. So we've got Joseph in charge of that, and he's collaborating with others in administration. These being all his, elder brothers and things like that. And Joseph is making a decision here. And the decision is, he sees something wrong, and so he's got to decide, who am I going to go to, and how am I going to handle this wrong decision? I want you to think here for a moment. Do you think the action that Joseph did made the situation better and fixed the problem? No, I don't think so. In fact, if we read on here, verse 4, when his brothers saw that his father loved him more, and this was after the report and stuff, they hated him and could not speak peaceably to him. So the relationships became more and more strained. I'll tell you, one of the, here we got Joseph in his early administration. He is making a big mess of it. And in a way, this is encouraging to you as young administrators, to me as well. Sometimes our first forays as administrators don't work out very well. And we may think that, that's it, I don't have the skills, I can't be an administrator, that's it, I'm done. Well, sometimes the very best administrators have an awful start. And Joseph's start here is terrible. He's now got every person he's working with hating him. Well, what happens? How does he make this better? Okay, we read on a little bit here. Verse 5, Joseph dreamed a dream, and he told it to his brothers, and they hated him even more. So Joseph has revealed something by God. And he makes another decision. And see, these are administrative decisions. As an administrator, you need to think of what actions should I do and what are the consequences? What are the desired results I want and what are the best steps to take? I think if we sat down with Joseph, the 17-year-old, we said, now Joseph, do you want as your desired result that everybody will hate you and will despise you and want to get rid of you? Well, Joseph's answer would have been, well, no, of course not. Okay, then we could have talked with Joseph. Well, now Joseph, if you do this, the people aren't going to like you. Do you understand that? Do you understand that personal interaction that goes on in your workplace environment? If you do this other thing, they're not going to like you either. You see, Joseph was not yet thinking as an administrator, and often as administrators, we need to think of, before we do an action, we need to think of the consequences first. We need to be forward-thinking and think of the results of those consequences. See, these are things I learned as an administrator on the job that I didn't think was part of administration when I went into it. You see, it's not just about having all these skills, these abilities. That's important. I mean, honestly, it is. But there's this other side to it I was starting to learn. And we're starting to learn about Joseph's character here, that he seemed pretty ignorant of social relationships. And he seemed to be pretty much uninformed as to how he needed to behave in front of others in order to bring about the best result. Well, you know the result here. He didn't get along with people. He obviously didn't make the right decisions here. You know, sometimes there's times in which you need to keep secrets as an administrator. There are certain people you can share things with and certain people you can't. And it's clear God gave Joseph this dream, but God didn't tell it to share it to all his brothers or his father or things. I mean, this was a dream that was very disconcerting. And at times as administrator, we have things that we have to keep confidential. And there's certain people you can share it with, and certainly, absolutely not. You cannot share it with these others. And you see, Joseph's already making all these mistakes and having all these problems. Well, you know the story. His brothers finally sold him into slavery and things like that. Reuben, the eldest son, was actually trying to mediate that. And, you know, I always wonder, well, what if Joseph, when he saw his brothers doing these wrong things, if he decided, well, why don't I go to Reuben, who's the leader, and appeal to him and see if, you know, I can make a friend here, and if between the two of us we can sort of work together and sort of rectify this problem. Instead, he sort of went over Reuben's head, and he went to his father and created all this tension. You see, there's always another alternative as an administrator. That's the thing I always learn, is it's not always that there's a bad answer and a bad answer and a bad answer. Sometimes it's just you haven't quite figured out what God's better solution is in this. And that's important. We don't see anywhere that Joseph prayed about it. We don't see anywhere he asked for guidance, anything. He just sort of blundered into things like I have blundered into a lot of things as an administrator. Okay, so his administrative career is not going very well at this point. Okay, so he's sold into slavery. We now move on to Genesis 39. He's now, so this